Okay, I'm going to be folding Patricia Crawford's tortoise. It's with tiny little adjustments to the original. I'm starting with this piece of origami paper, and I'm starting on the white side. The first fold is just like this. It's quite important at this point not to fold the paper too tightly, because this fold is actually going to be on the back of the tortoise, and if you fold it too tightly, it may split by the time you get to the end of the composition. So then this is the second fold. Obviously keeping it very steady and exact. It's important to make sure that the middle is very well marked. Then I open it, and now we're folding the corners in. I'm making sure that I can see the middle, so that there is going to be a tiny little gap between the folds here, because I'm actually going to be folding this in a minute, and I don't want these sides to be folded in any way when I fold it in. So you just make sure that you have a little gap here between the sides. Here we go. So the next fold is going to be, I'm going to fold it in half again, inwards like this. And again. And now I'm going to take this and fold basically a square base. So obviously you put your hand in, press it down, make sure that these corners don't move as you press it down. Again, I'm tightening this fold here, but not too much, so that the folds are not too crisp. Again, I'm turning it over, standing this triangle up, supporting here with my fingers and putting my hand in. As I imagine, if you are attempting this composition, you probably know how to make a square base. So there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a bird base. So I'm folding these open sides inwards. Again, I am pressing to the middle, but I want to actually see the middle, so that the folds are in no way overlapping each other. So I'm pressing like this, so the middle line is actually not covered by the fold, and I turn it over and fold this side again. This is the part that you want to make sure that your fold is really symmetrical with your with the fold that you have already made, and of course with the fold in front of it as well. This is, if you keep this symmetry, then the end result is much more accurate than if you don't. So when I tighten this, I tend to tighten from the top of the fold downwards and not the other way around. Now I need to mark this line, and I do this very carefully, because by this point this is quite tight, there's a lot of paper in there, and I want the fold to be very accurate, so I'm always pressing the whole composition onto the table, and marking with my thumbs very well Once this is well marked, obviously I open these sides. And now I'm going to create the bird base. Pause. Here I'm folding it back, making sure that this fold is exactly on the fold that I've made before. I'm supporting with my fingers there and then folding down. The paper is going to naturally fold in to the folds that I've made before, but I just want to make sure that this is the case. And again, I'm actually folding this from the inside out so that I don't get any kinks in the paper. And then I do the same on the other side. Then I do the same on the other side, making sure that the fold here, I will turn it over so that you can see that this fold here is exactly in the same place as the other side, so that we have symmetry on both sides. I'm letting the fold fall exactly where I folded it before, and then again tightening from the middle outwards, like this. I'm all the time making sure that the symmetry is kept and that the accuracy is kept. If something doesn't seem to have folded exactly, then I correct it. Now I'm gonna take, now I have a bird base, but of course it's double because we have inside the folds that we've done before in the beginning. So now I'm taking what would be the wings of the bird, and I'm actually just pulling them out so that the whole paper is opened, and I'm turning it inside out. I'm folding it back like this, like that, and folding the inside, the middle downwards, so that I can fold these parts in. It's a little bit tricky. You may want to pause and look at this again before attempting this fold. What I have on this side is what looks like a bird base, but what I have on the other side is actually something completely different. So I have here, this is going to be the back of the tortoise, and now I need to bring out the pieces of paper that are going to make the limbs. So I'm turning this over. I'm going to actually take the inside. This is the dash that we folded in some of our first folds when we folded the paper in to the middle. Now I'm taking it out and I'm folding it in on itself so that it actually comes out like this, and I'm doing it on the other side as well. I'm going to release all four sides so that I have some paper to work with here. So I'm folding it back and opening this side as well. Making sure that the fold falls exactly along the lines of the fold that I made before, unless, as you can see, for instance, here, it's not exactly accurate. Sometimes you get a fold that even though you thought you were accurate, it turns out that you weren't exactly. So I'm willing it to be more accurate like this. Opening the fourth part. This is the paper from which I'm going to be making the limbs. What I have now is something that looks like that. On the other side it looks like this. And what I'm going to do now is standing it on the table with the colored side down. I'm going to make my fold there. This is a pressing fold. I'm pressing it down, making sure that these bottom parts are not moving out. But pay attention, when we make a bird base, when we make a square base, the parts underneath the fold always touch. But here they don't touch, and they don't touch because they have something inside that is actually stopping them. So we cannot make them touch. If I was going to make them touch, the whole composition would lose its shape. So I'm holding it in place with my finger here, just making sure that these parts are in their place but no closer than they should be. And then I'm pressing down. Obviously the middle is going to be here. They come virtually on top of each other, and I'm pressing down like that.